Hi, everyone, and welcome to Practical Ideas for Growth. We here at Innovatus are big believers in the growth mindset. We talk about it all the time, and its impact on firm and individual successes. And so each person's mindset evolves over time and on their particular journey. And so today I'm really excited to start a new part of our live series and to welcome Chris Zingalli, who is a CPA and principal at Janover, as my guest today. And Chris, can you share a little bit more about your background with Janover?
Sure. Thanks, Sarah. I'm happy to be here. As you mentioned, Sarah, I'm a principal here at Janover. Janover is a New York-based CPA firm. We have two offices. And my role at Janover really as a principal, I lead most of our firm's consulting practices, kind of those, I put in air quotes, non-traditional accounting work. So, the transaction advisory services, the modeling, the forecasting, the cash flow analysis, digital advisory solutions, which is really custom dashboard development for our clients. And over the past year, more recently, it's really a lot of the COVID-related relief services, the PPP, ERC, and kind of keeping track of all of the programs that are out there, especially from the SBA. From a marketing perspective, I'm the co-partner principal in charge of our firm's marketing initiatives. I don't have a traditional marketing or business development background. I guess it kind of helps that I have a little bit of a design background. I know Photoshop, so it kind of helps. I guess I'm a little more than a typical CPA in terms of a design background, but that's really my focus here at Janover.
Great. And thanks. I mean, gosh, PPP and ERC, that's got to have kept you busy this year and such an important role for firms today. But
Yeah.
obviously, you're an accountant and you're an advisor, right? You sit in that role that a lot of firms are helping to evolve. And you're an up-and-coming leader, it sounds like, in your firm. So I want to dig a little bit deeper on your journey around what we call as the growth mindset and really that journey around marketing and business development, and talk a little bit more about what you've learned, your sort of aha moments, because we each have those aha moments as we learn. And I think if you talk to most professionals, they're a little bit scared of marketing and business development. And more importantly, I think they always have this perception around what it is. And so let's dig in and talk a little bit more about your journey. What does growth or having a growth mindset really mean to you? How would you define that personally?
Sure. Yeah. So I guess there's really two pieces of this, right? One piece from our firm perspective, one piece from my personal, professional perspective. From our firm perspective, as an up and coming leader here at Janover, like you mentioned, it's really as a firm trying to become a recognized brand, household name, which is actually really difficult, obviously, especially being in the New York market. It's definitely a challenging task, but as a firm, and especially from my own perspective, if we could bring value to clients, keep up with innovation, new services, and focus our marketing efforts in the right place, I think growth is inevitable from that perspective, right? For our firm. For myself, mainly is keeping up with that innovation piece, right? The fact that I lead most of our firm's efforts in those non-traditional services, a lot of the value add services, the innovative services like the digital advisory solutions, it's staying current with what's out there, keeping your ear to the streets, as they say, and seeing what's coming down the pipeline and what kind of services, not only my personal clients, but our clients as a firm, the clients that we service as a firm. That's really growth for me. And that's been kind of my experience. That's kind of what I strive for in my role here at Janover, for sure.
I love that. I think sometimes we get too afraid that growth is really about just sales or just marketing. And we do believe that there is a big piece of this. It starts with client service. And
Of
so I
course.
love that you touch on that innovation, but we don't all start out with a comfortability with marketing. In fact, most of us start out with a huge fear. I personally remember starting my career thinking, I'm never going to go into sales. I remember a company recruiting me and really like trying to sell me on account management, making 200 calls a day. And I'm like, that sounds horrible to me and
Not
awful. Like,
ideal.
no, I don't want to be in sales. I want to do this marketing thing. And it wasn't until I got into my first job that I learned that it was much more than that. So tell me more about that, your personal journey. How have you gotten more comfortable with the concept of marketing or business development and this idea of growing and maybe doing things that you probably didn't think you would be doing when you got into this profession.
Like being on this live chat,
Exactly, like
basically.
being
Yeah.
right here with me talking live.
Yeah. So it's funny because I may have mentioned this to you in the past, but for myself, before joining here at Janover, like the whole public speaking thing and being in front of a camera on Zoom or any whatever, Facebook Live or Instagram Live or LinkedIn Live, um, it wasn't something I was comfortable with at all. And that's been one of the best things for me here at Janover is getting comfortable with the public speaking and getting comfortable with, speaking to you like this. And COVID definitely helped that over the past year. I could probably count the number of times on two hands that I actually was on a webcam video, like a one-on-one type video or a two-on-one video. It's gotten so normalized with COVID, so it really has helped me get comfortable. Um, in other ways in growth, one thing that I found really interesting for me to kind of keep up with innovation and keep up with the times, something like having Google Alerts set up. I keep up with all like the really cool accounting articles that are out there, whether it's, data analytics and audit or digital advisory or some of the PPP work. I really try to keep focus on what's out there and try to always come to the firm with ideas and, whether it's new services or something we could do better. And just kind of for myself, be more aware of, my, our network, our competitors, our clients, and really everyone out there in the market.
Have you had any aha moments? I remember there being points, and still there are lots of points in my career where I've rethought something, or I've had that moment where I'm like, it's different, or it's not as hard as I thought it would be. And if so, what were some of those aha moments for you, or as someone might call them, surprises that you've had?
So growth in general.
Growth, marketing, business
Sure.
development, that whole
Yeah.
growth area.
Yeah. So one of the big things for me, and this is unique to our firm, to Janover, the one surprising thing to me was really the fact that we have complete buy-in from upper management, which really makes the whole marketing, business development, growth, and the future really that much easier. That's really, one of the biggest hurdles for whether you're a CPA firm or just a regular business, right? Your professional services or a standard business that's out there. Us as a firm, we've done, I think, 2 small mergers back in 2015. But since then, we've really grown organically, I think in double digits year over year. So, sometimes it's hard to convince upper management. They say, hey, we're growing without spending all this money in marketing or really without these initiatives. So what's the point? That's a problem we did not have, which I was really surprised with. I'm thrilled with. And that to me has been definitely one of the biggest surprises of my journey here at Janover in terms of our marketing efforts. And that kind of covers that.
Yeah, that's
Mm-hmm.
great. And, I think that commitment's important. Commitment to any kind of success, whether it's training development or just being willing to jump into that. And I think that's awesome, that you feel like you've got that support towards your own professional journey. And we never quite leave. But, you mentioned early that you have a role in your firm's marketing,
Mm-hmm.
maybe a slightly larger role than the average person as a co-leader of that area. Tell me a little bit more about some of that evolution. How are you guys approaching, right? No firm ever, accomplishes it and feels like they get there. But tell me a little bit more about how you guys are looking at growth, how you guys are investing into that or approaching it.
Sure. So us as a firm, historically, we've done little to no marketing, which is really impressive. That year over year growth with really limited to no marketing is really something to say about the firm as a whole. So there's so much opportunity there. And again, leadership sees that, upper management sees that, which is great. So us as a firm, we're constantly looking forward, right? We're trying to not look back, more so look forward and say, what industries and what type of services do we see in other industries in the next year or 2 years or 3 years, and try to prepare for that. Obviously, we're working with Innovatus. I don't think I've mentioned that, but working with you, right? Really coming up with that more targeted business plan, so to speak, by industry groups, and really developing really strong niche and really strong fundamentals in specific industries. Um, and that's a piece. I mean, we're still working towards it. We're definitely not there 100% yet, but it is definitely a really important piece, especially as a CPA firm. The other piece is really the social media front, which is important in any business in the planet right now. Social media is really important. Really getting thought leadership out there, keeping your clients informed. You know, whether it's an e-blast, whether it's posting on LinkedIn, or whether it's Facebook posts for different type stuff. But it's really keeping your clients informed, and kind of making sure that for your clients that you're the first call, right? You never want to hear from a client. So I was talking to my friend that, well, I was playing golf the other day and they mentioned this, right? Something that we should be keeping them informed with. So it's really just staying ahead of it, looking towards the future, and kind of trying to figure out where the industry is going, whether our industry as a CPA firm, as well as where our clients' industries are going.
That's amazing. And I think that so many firms are in the same point. I think COVID's also challenged so much of how firms market and do business development. And so we've seen a lot of firms really evolve over this last year, and firms that are struggling a little bit to evolve, many that are reaching out and asking for help and assistance too. And I think there's been a huge recognition, and I think any marketer in the profession knows that for so long, client service has been the big why for why you do social and content marketing and some of those first and foremost. But we've definitely seen some of that recognition as we've moved forward. So
especially the webinars, that was something. I'm sure firms did that in the past, but I mean the past year, mainly because of COVID, the whole webinar thing has become really important for CPA firms. That was something us as a firm, we didn't do that pre-COVID, in all honesty. And I think we're on now, you may know better than I do, I think our 12th or 15th webinar coming up this week. So that also is a really important thing for us as a firm to really get out there and have another touch point with our clients or potential clients or even our employees. They're really good learning experiences for our employees as well.
Absolutely. And yeah, I mean, firms across the country, I've seen record numbers of attendance. I mean, just things that we've never seen before in the profession. And so that's pretty amazing to see the innovation that was done, even with traditional conferences, and the conversations I have with really talented marketing professionals, what they've done with their events that were very much traditional in person has been really, really amazing. So
definitely.
Well, Chris, what advice would you give to another accountant or professional in a CPA firm that is maybe they're starting their journey and maybe they're not quite sure how to evolve some of their skills, or maybe they're wondering on their journey towards marketing, doing more marketing and business development? What advice would you share with them?
Sure. I think as a whole, which was really important for us as a firm, you have to come up with a marketing plan, right? You can't just do marketing. You can't just kind of throw marketing dollars out there, kind of just, throw sand up in the wind. Really come up with a 1-year plan or a 6-month plan, or maybe even a 90-day plan, right? A 6-month plan, a 1-year plan, and a 2-year plan, and see, develop goals and where you want to be at these certain times. Does that 2-year plan include a rebranding? I don't know, maybe. Develop a content calendar as to when you're going to be posting certain thought leadership or hosting webinars or whatever it is. And the other really important piece, I think, for marketing growth, and this is really for a whole CPA firm, whether it's human resources or IT, I think it's really important to develop a network of other CPA firms. Like, a lot of firms have been through the challenges that we're going through, that other firms are going through, that we've gone through. People have been there and they've done the right things, they've done the wrong things, but they've learned a lot in getting there. So if you have a network, whether it's a firm as a whole, and you have a good relationship with some partners there, or some partners in charge there, or whatever it is, or even just employees there, and just learning what other firms are doing, not to copy what they're doing, just to learn what they feel like they've done right and what they feel like they've done wrong. And I think that's really important. Again, whether it's a marketing perspective, whether it's IT, whether it's human resources, whether it's just recruiting as a whole, I think that's really important.
Absolutely. And good advice. We're big on strategy here and
Hmm.
knowing where you want to go so you do the right things. I mean, half the success in marketing is execution, half is having the direction, the right direction. And too many firms sort of back into it and throw up some great tactics, but they don't really know exactly why they're doing it, or they've
Exactly.
landed somewhere, right? They've landed in
Exactly.
the specialties and niches that they have, and they're not quite sure what to do with all of
Yep.
that stuff.
Hmm. Exactly. Like, why
So,
are you doing a webinar? Who's your target
mhm,
audience? What's the goal here? What are
yeah.
you expecting out of it? So it's really just putting together a solid plan.
Yeah, absolutely. Well,
Mhm.
Chris, thank you so much for sharing a little bit
Yeah, of
about your journey and your firm's journey
course.
with us today. We appreciate you having you on. And for all of our listeners, please stay tuned. We'll be doing more of this as we go forward. Chris, any final words before we wrap up?
No, no, I appreciate being here. Thanks for having me today. I like talking about this stuff. I think it's important. Sharing our story is important, and these sessions you do, they've been important for me, and because I actually follow a lot of these sessions also. So hopefully, someone kind of picked something up, or they learned something, or they got an idea out of what we spoke about.
Wonderful. Thanks so
Yeah.
much.
Thanks, Sarah.